Okay, so today what I want to talk to you guys about is fact and opinion. Okay? Why do you think we need to talk about fact and opinion? Does anyone have any ideas? Okay, Ahmed?
I think fact is real in our life,
Okay.
and the opinion that
just in your mind.
Right, so that's what these two things are. My question is, why do we need to know the difference? And for English 105, for writing projects 4 and 5, one of the things you have to do is evaluate what? Right? Evaluating sources, right? You have to choose articles, right? Right? So, when we are choosing sources for our writing, do we want to have sources that have mostly fact or mostly opinion?
Mostly fact.
Mostly facts. Why?
Because the fact is, like we cannot change it. But
Good.
Like everyone have a different opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And so we need facts to support our opinions and ideas in our writing, so we need to make sure that the facts and the information in our sources are mostly facts. Okay? So what I did was I looked in the dictionary and I chose a couple different ways of thinking about what are facts and what are opinions. Okay? So the first idea that we have with a fact is, right, a fact is something that has actually happened, right, or is a real occurrence or event, right? So what do you guys think? Is the sentence a fact?
Fact, yes.
How do you know?
Because it happened.
How do you know it happened? I don't see any snow outside.
It's not today. It's 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Good, but you think it is a real event, right? It's something that actually happened,
Yeah.
right? So what are some ways that we can know this is a fact? We saw it in the past.
Ask people.
Ask people. Good, right? That's what goes with our second idea about facts, right? It's something agreed upon by a substantial number of people. Substantial means a lot, right? So once again, everybody here was in Flagstaff on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So everyone experienced this, right? So we all agree, yes, this for sure happened 2 days ago, right? So that's a really good way of knowing a fact. Is there any other way we can know this is a fact from 2 days ago? What kind of evidence, right? So a fact is something that can be verified, it can be shown that it's true with evidence.
Yeah,
Pictures, good.
And we saw the
Report.
snow.
Good, weather reports, pictures, and we all agree it happened. So now we have 3 different pieces of information showing this is a fact. Excellent, okay? So facts, we can know they're facts if everyone agrees about it, if we have evidence, right? So it's something that is actual rather than invented, right? So if I said it snowed chocolate candy on Wednesday, is that actual? No, that's impossible, right? I just made that up in my mind. I invented that idea. Sounds nice, right? Okay, good. So everyone feel good about facts? All right, so on the other hand, we have opinions, right? Something based on belief and viewpoint, right? Okay? So I'll give you another example, okay? I'm really sad today.
Why?
I'm just so really sad.
Exactly.
But I'm smiling, right? The evidence is not there, right? What I'm saying, right? We could verify, we could show this was a fact, but when I smile and say I'm sad, there's no evidence, right? And it's really fun too. It's hard to do though, it's hard to do that. Okay, good. So an opinion, right? It might sound like a fact, it might look like a fact, but we have to make sure that there's evidence there, right? Okay? And so an opinion, right? It's what seems true. Maybe in my mind I really am sad, but for you guys, right? The people, like, if I'm the author and you're the reader, right? There's no evidence for what I'm saying, right? So that's when we're reading, when we're evaluating sources, right? We want to make sure that there's evidence, facts, okay? And so definitely, right? It's a conclusion. I may tell you over and over again how sad I am today, but there's no proof, right? There's no evidence, okay? Got it? So, how do we know? Okay? All right? So once again, when we're evaluating our sources, stay with me, guys. Stay with me, okay?
Yes.
All right. When we're evaluating our sources and deciding how much fact or how much opinion are inside them, we can use these questions to help us test, okay? So the first question that we ask for our test is, has the author used subjective adjectives? Has anyone heard this word, subjective? No? Mr. Kevin didn't say subjective? No? Maybe you're not there yet.
It's the adjective of subject.
That's a really, really good guess, Ahmed. Okay? So, let me give you an example. Okay? What's the adjective in this sentence?
Good.
Kai-Chen, what's the adjective in this sentence?
Like the description.
So in
Snow.
snow is the adjective.
Good. I'm so sorry.
Good. Alright, and so I'm going to say that this adjective is subjective, right? So subjective means,
Adjective.
once again, it has to do with opinion, okay? Right? Hopefully you can see that, sorry. Right, so if we look here at this sentence, what about this sentence? What's the adjective here?
What?
White.
Yeah.
Which sentence, one or two, seems more like a fact?
Two.
Two. Why? Because
Why?
we can't really argue, right? When I say snow is good, does anyone here disagree? You think it's good?
I disagree.
You disagree, right?
Yeah.
But can we disagree with snow is white?
No.
No. Okay, so the opposite of subjective is objective. Okay? And so once again, in our sources, when the author explains things like this, right? It's good, it's bad, it's positive, okay? When we can disagree with the description, like good, that makes it subjective, which makes it an opinion. Okay? But if we have adjectives like this, right, it's objective, right? We can't really disagree about white, okay? There might be a little bit of different kinds of white, but white is white. But good is,
Good.
in my mind, good, right? And what's good for Ahmed might not be good for Yufei. It might not be good for most, right? So it's subjective. So that's our first test. As we're reading our source, is the author describing things in a way that's just kind of like their opinion, or are they giving us factual descriptions? Okay? All right, so we'll do our first test, and then we'll move on to our second test. So here, our second question is, has the author used words like think or seem? Okay? So why do you think, there's that word, right? Why do you think words like think and seem make something an opinion?
Because, like, in my opinion, I think.
Yeah, right? So once again, if the author and what he's writing and telling us is only I think, it seems, maybe, I believe, in my opinion, then clearly we have opinions, right? If it's a fact, we don't say we think it. We know. We don't have to use that language. So looking at the language is kind of our first two tests. Okay? All right. Then we have our most important test for our source to know if it has good facts. Okay? And so our final question is there any evidence? Okay? And clearly, if we have a sentence like this, does this sentence have any evidence? Snow is good? No, right? However, if I add to my sentence, okay, now I've added some evidence, okay? I'm telling you what I mean by good, right? So now I've given evidence, okay? That's going to make this sentence more fact than opinion now.
Like, it's an opinion, then the author gives us a reason, like fact reason,
Mm-hmm.
to make it like a fact.
Exactly, right? So we want to have sources where the author doesn't just give us opinions, but is supporting those opinions with evidence, and the evidence are facts, okay? Once we've decided there's evidence, now we need to ask ourselves the second question. Is the evidence reliable? What is reliable? Can be trusted. Excellent. Right? And so once again, our fact over here, is this reliable? Because we have three different pieces of evidence, right?
Yeah.
We have all of our experience, we have photos, and we have weather reports or even scientific measures of what happened on Wednesday. So that is reliable. Is my evidence over there reliable? It's not bad. It could be better. This is more reliable than my evidence over there. Okay? So, good. So, we say, yes, there's evidence. Yes, it's reliable, right? And our final question is there counter evidence? Does anyone know what counter evidence is? No? So anything that's counter something is the opposite, okay? So once again, if I say snow is good because, and I give you evidence, but I only tell you that snow is good, and I don't include anything about snow is bad, then I haven't given you any counter evidence. So once again, it's more opinion than fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with most of our sources on complex academic topics, there's always two sides, right? But if the author chooses only one side, it's an opinion, and we don't have the facts. When we can see both sides, then it's a better source, and it's giving us more accurate, reliable facts, okay? So you can use these questions to help you decide and evaluate your sources. Sound good?
Good.
Awesome. So we just kind of talked about this, right? So we definitely know that especially in our sources, it's a mixture of fact and opinion, and sometimes it's hard to separate and identify, okay? And so we have a couple of follow-up questions, right, to help us decide about our sources, right? So here, are the adjectives being qualified with evidence? If they're telling me something is good, are they telling me why it's good? If they're saying something is an advantage, are they telling me how it's an advantage, or are they just saying it's an advantage? Okay? So when we see these subjective type descriptions, is the author giving us evidence to support or to let us know what this means in this source? Okay? So once again, is it supported by evidence or is it unsupported? And of course, the best kind of support that we can get is statistical data, right? So once again here, right, for our fact over here, we have our 3 pieces of evidence. Question, Mousab? Question?
Yeah, about food. Fact sometimes can be opinion.
Pardon?
Fact sometimes can be opinion.
A fact can yeah.
Sometimes can be opinion.
Can you give me an example of what you mean?
Yeah, like when you say the facts, you can say it by the opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I was kind of trying to show you with this idea is definitely, you know, in our articles, it's a mixture of fact and opinion. And actually, our next slide shows us more of that information. Really fast here, right? Right? So for our fact over here, we have 3 pieces of evidence, right? Which is the strongest?
Weather report.
Exactly, right? And so, you know, this is okay, although we could lie, right?
Yeah, but it's
We could all make it up. I could be like, I'll give you $5 to say it's snow, right?
Yeah, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah, but definitely when we're talking about the past, there's been some kind of actual measurement. But for future weather reports, for sure. Yeah, then it's not reliable, right? And photos, maybe you're lying, right? But, you know, our phone does tell us, but our phone at least would say when and what time we took the photo. So these are probably much stronger evidence. Uh-huh.
If we saw it in our eyes, it's relevant.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreliable, but I think that there's stronger evidence than what we remember, because sometimes our memory can mess up things. But, you know, it's not terrible, and especially when we have a lot of people agreeing instead of just like 5 or 10, then it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Mutep's point, which was really important too, right? Okay, facts can be influenced by opinion, right? So facts are not always completely objective, right? Remember that word objective? White is white, right? Okay? Because the author selects which facts they want to present as evidence, right? So maybe I only want the orange fish, and I don't want to talk about the green fish because I want you to agree, right? But if you know about the green fish, you might change your mind, right? So we choose, because we choose our facts to support our opinions, right? We can kind of have facts that look like opinions,
Yes.
right? And so once again, if we go back to our handout, that's why this last question, 3B, is so important. Is there counter evidence? Is the author showing us good and bad, orange and green, or just orange or just green? And if there's no counter evidence, it's opinion. And so it's not going to be as reliable of a source. Okay?
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So if you turn your paper over, the little activity for us to start. Okay? So I chose 7 quotes from our article that we took our quiz on. Okay? And so what I would like you to do is tell me whether you think it is a fact or an opinion, and then give me just a brief explanation why. Okay?
I think it's first one opinion.
You think the first one's an opinion? Why?
Because they can see information.
Because it's the same information?
That kind of same information.
Okay, so it's saying information. Are there any key words that seem like
Opinion?
opinion?
Yeah, like data and engineering equipment are more prevalent these days.
Good, so prevalent means common, right? So if we say something is common, is that subjective or objective? What do you guys think? It's objective. So if it's objective though, it's probably a fact. But, you know, so if I said red cars are common, right? I see red cars a lot. They are common. Is that a fact or an opinion?
Opinion.
It's really in the middle, but it's kind of more of an opinion. It's just kind of, there's no evidence supporting it, okay? So definitely when, right, we say something is something, right, okay, it's kind of more of an opinion. Once again, this idea of prevalent is probably more subjective, right? It's more like our snow is good, okay? Right? Our other tests for this first example, what about this word could? Is could a opinion idea or a fact idea? If I say something could affect.
Third opinion.
Like opinion.
Right, because we don't know for sure,
Yeah.
right? We're guessing, and if we're guessing, that's an opinion, right? We might be able to make a very, I mean, we have some evidence, but we don't know for sure, so it's probably an opinion. So we kind of have a subjective adjective here, and then we kind of have, you know, could is kind of like think, right? I'm guessing. It's possible. Okay? So good. Yeah, I agree, Mutet. This one is an opinion, I think, too. Okay? So, let's see. We have 3 minutes left of class. So So if you want to spend the last 3 minutes of class working through these next ones, but this will probably become homework that I'd like you to bring on Tuesday.
How about, this one I think better we do it together.
Well, we can do the second one together again if you'd like.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So let's do as much as we can together until the end of class. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay. So number 2 says telehealth has advantages in underdeveloped and rural areas of the world. What do you guys think? Fact or opinion? Fact.
No,
Why?
I think
I think it really have the advantage.
Okay.
It's true. Yeah, I think it's true.
Okay, and it's true, and we
That's how the truth.
right, and we're only talking about a specific place. We're not saying it has advantages everywhere. Mutep, do you disagree? It's okay.
she said fact, yeah?
Yeah?
No, I think opinion.
Why do you think opinion? It's okay. Both answers are good as long as you can explain why.
Because they say something.
No, it's okay. Why do you think it's an opinion? I'm curious. Can you tell me, please?
Because they said Janet has advantage in the underworld and rural areas of the world. He doesn't say anything with fact. He just
Okay.
says information.
Yeah, I mean, once again, they're not really explaining what kind of advantages. They're not giving us enough information. What's an advantage? Maybe what's an advantage for you is a disadvantage for you. Ahmed, what's your idea?
I think like I'm confused between fact and opinion.
I know it gets really messy when we really look at it closely.
Like, well, I think it's opinion because they didn't give us the evidence.
Okay.
It's like advantages in the rural areas. And the fact, yes, it has advantages.
But in advantage,
Yeah, so I mean,
it's affecting the people. People think that have advantage over
yeah, and I mean, I kind of chose these
Yeah.
ones because they're really in the
I think
middle,
it's,
and so
uh,
it's how
fact.
good you can explain whether it's a fact or an opinion. So I agree with everyone here, right? It looks like a fact because it's definitely, being specific about where the advantages are. It's not just saying has advantages, period, but also that language of advantages is kind of subjective, right? It has that idea of, once again, what's an advantage over here
Yeah.
might not be an advantage here. So I think because of this last part, it's kind of a fact, but for this exercise that I'd like you guys to try the rest of them, it's really just how well you explain it and how you're seeing it. Because, even evaluating sources, right, depends on our ability. And so some things are more strongly facts than opinions, but some are really in the middle. Okay, Ahmed?
So it depends on the explanation, right?
Yeah. So let's see, really fast. Right, so if we look at number 3, studies show that obtaining data remotely is reliable. Therefore, even though the technology is new, it is being widely accepted.
It's fact.
Fact, definitely. When we have this kind of language, right? That means it's already been tested. Yeah. Okay? Excellent. Okay. So finish this up as best you can. This is due on Tuesday when you come to class. Okay?
Okay.
All right, excellent. Wonderful job today, guys.
It's good.
That's fine. We're finished.
She's so.
Class is over. Okay. All right. So today I want to talk to you guys about fact and opinion. Why do you think we need to talk about fact and opinion? Mashari? Why do you think we're talking about fact and opinion today?
To know so the difference between the fact and the opinion. So the fact is everything.
But why do we need to know the difference?
To know how to write.
To know how to write what?
Essay.
An essay? So does an essay have facts and opinions or one or the other?
No, one.
Really? Do you guys agree? Do essays have only facts or only opinions?
No.
Have both of them.
No, they have both of them.
But on a different issue.
Okay, depends on the kind of essay.
Yeah.
Agree with that. Okay. The other reason, Noah, did you have an idea? No? Okay.
The facts want something, you can't change it. Start.
Uh-huh.
And maybe when there's something, I can't give my opinion.
Okay.
Because you can't change it. But something I give my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
About it, we can't change it.
Okay. So before we can write, right, we have to find sources to support our ideas, our opinions, right? And so before we can write and look at our own facts and opinions, we have to evaluate sources. Okay? Do you guys agree? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Maybe? Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I think knowing the difference between fact and opinion is helpful for a lot of reasons for our writing. Also, so we can choose good sources. Okay? So, good. So, yeah, Mishari started to tell us kind of some of the ideas that I came up with from the dictionary about what is a fact versus what is an opinion. So let's take a look here at what we have. So, right, facts, right, something that has actually happened, has been a real occurrence or event, right? Okay? So, if we were just basing what I'm about to say on what we can see outside the window today, if I said, it snowed all day yesterday, would you guys believe that that actually happened? No? Why not?
I say yeah.
You say yes? Okay, but if we're just looking out the window right here, would you think that it snowed all day yesterday?
No.
Is that a fact?
No.
Well, right. So how could we know? How could we know that it actually happened?
How we know it's actually the fact?
No, how do we know that, yeah, how do we know it's actually a fact? Yeah.
By the title? Or by the information that they gave you? Fine.
Okay, well,
We can know from the audience who read this article or who read this essay. If he gets like
but I'm talking about my fact that I'm saying right now, okay? Okay, I want you to just think about this fact.
So how do you know it's fine?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because
Right, okay, so what kind of evidence, Fawn, could we have?
If there is snow on trees.
Is there still a little bit of snow on the trees? I can't even see any.
No, we can't see. We can't
because
see.
Okay,
everyone know that because yesterday it snowed and everyone saw it yesterday.
yeah, that's what goes along with point number 2 here, right? It's a reality, something we all experience that is agreed upon by a substantial, which means a lot, number of people, right? So that's kind of our first piece of evidence, right? We were all here yesterday, we all experienced this. So that's good, that makes it a fact. Jakob, are you listening to me? Okay, what are you writing down? But I didn't ask you to write down words. Can you listen to me? I worked really hard to make this lesson for you. Please listen to me. Okay? Good. So this is the first way that we can know that this is a fact. Okay? Right? Also, just like Fawn was telling us, right? Facts are something that can be verified with evidence, right? I have at least 3 3 pictures on my phone from yesterday. Right? Are those pictures evidence?
Yes?
Yeah.
It's
Right?
real, yeah.
Yeah, it's good evidence, right? Or, right, we could go and look on the internet and look at the weather
Yeah,
report
it's
from
a-
yesterday.
And also on your cell phone you can see.
Right, so on our cell phone, we could see what yesterday's weather told us. So that's 3 different kinds of evidence right there to show that this is a fact, okay? So definitely, right, a fact is something that is actual rather than invented. If I said it snowed candy yesterday, is that actual? No, that's impossible. That's just something I invented, right? Okay? Do you guys feel good about facts?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. So on the other hand, we have opinion, right? So an opinion is something based on belief and viewpoint, right? What I believe, what I think, what I feel. Okay? So opinion is a personal interpretation that cannot, right, be verified with evidence. Okay? So I'll give you an example here. Okay? I am so sad. I am so sad today, guys. Can you believe it?
No, it's opinion.
Why do you think it's an opinion, Mashari?
Because you said I'm so sad today.
But is there evidence that I'm sad today?
No.
No,
Good.
but, no, but it's objective.
Okay, great.
So when I say like this
Uh-huh.
is from my perspective.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's no clear evidence except my words about what I'm saying. So it's more of an opinion than our fact. Okay? Excellent, right? So opinions are beliefs. They're not based on absolute certainty, right? It might seem true when I'm telling you, right? But there's no evidence to show that, okay? So, once again, right, an opinion has
Opinion has belief.
no evidence. It's just what I'm saying, okay?
So
So it is the opposite of fact.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I think if you think, if you give your own thinking,
Uh-huh.
you should have your proof. You should have your proof to support your opinion.
Good. Kevin, you're already like 2 slides ahead. Awesome. Good. I agree. Okay?
But the proof of
Uh-huh.
but the proof of you is not must true.
Okay.
It's maybe wrong, but
Okay.
but it's a kind of proof.
All right. That sounds good. So, what I'm handing out to you guys right now, you can see on the board. So this is something we can do to test whether something is a fact or an opinion. Yeah, make sure it gets passed down to Nawaf and Ahmed, please. Thank you. Okay. So we have kind of a series of questions that we can use to test. Okay? So just like Yusuf already said,
I'm sorry.
and really? Okay. So our first question is, has the author used subjective adjectives? So once again, this idea of subjective. What's an example of a subjective adjective?
What does
Mine.
subjective mean?
Mine.
That's not well, it's kind of an adjective, Kevin, but no.
Mine.
It's like
What does subjective mean? All right,
Why would I
excellent.
I think that.
Okay, well, that's our question number 2, right? Here we're talking about adjectives describing words, right? But I'm too slow, you guys are too fast.
You looks beautiful.
Oh, that is subjective. Good. So, right, the most common subjective adjective, right? Were you going to say this, Noah? Yeah, good.
No.
No, why not?
Snow is white, but
Okay.
for different people, it means different thing. Maybe good, maybe bad.
Yeah,
So
right?
each one have a different opinion.
So if something is subjective, it's once again, it's based on my opinion. Do you know what is good to me might be bad to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay,
When I say from my opinion or from
Uh-huh.
my perspective,
okay,
this code is objective,
yes.
like my opinion, my perspective.
No,
These
that is subjective, right?
Subjective. Okay.
Opinion is mostly subjective.
Subjective. Okay. What's the objective?
So objective is like what Kevin said,
Snow is white.
snow is white,
So how do you
right?
know it's what? Maybe it's black.
Right, I mean, when I see this question, I'm like, well, good how? Good why? I hate snow, right? But here, I can't argue. I can't say, wait a minute, snow is black.
No.
Right, no way, right? It has to be something else.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, snow is dry. No, right? Okay, good. So yeah, this one is subjective, this one is objective. Okay, so that's our first test. When we look and we're reading our article, if we have a lot of this subjective, it begins to make us think, this is more opinion than fact. And when our sources are more opinion than fact, right, then it's not as reliable, it's not as credible. So then let's check with question number 2.
I fixed the car. I fixed the car.
What does that have to do with anything?
You said, Yusuf, 2 minutes ago, he said, I fixed the car, and he said it's from number 2.
No,
No.
he said, I think.
I think
I think
that snow is
respect.
no.
So
It's
yeah.
It's kind of our world.
Yeah, so if you said like, the snow seems good,
Our world.
I think snow is good,
Yeah.
I
right?
think-
Once again,
Like from you.
right, there's nothing there. So once again, if you see a lot of that kind of language in your source, once again, we know it's going to be an opinion. It's not going to be reliable.
So
Okay?
the other person can disagree with you.
Yes. So finally, we have our best series of questions.
Is the-
Mashari, stay with me, dude.
I'm with you.
Come on. I got 10 minutes. I gotta hurry.
Yeah.
Okay? So our last set of questions is the most important. Okay? So finally we say, is there any evidence? If I have a subjective beginning of my sentence like this,
So evidence similar to audience? No, right?
okay? So now I've added to my subjective opinion some evidence. Okay? Do you see the evidence?
No, what is the evidence?
Okay? Snow is good because now I'm telling you what I mean by good. So now I've taken my subjective adjective, and because I'm providing evidence, I'm moving it more away from opinion toward fact.
Okay.
Because I'm explaining why it's good.
You explained why it's good, but evidence, how we know it's like straw or
That's a good question. Yeah, so then we have to decide. So if there is, yes, there's evidence, then we have a second question we have to ask, right? So now we have to say, is the evidence reliable? Well, how do we know?
How do we know?
I don't know, what makes evidence reliable? Once again, remember, if we go back to the first slide, right? Okay, right? It's either something that everyone agrees is true,
Or
we've all experienced it together, okay? But the best way of knowing if something is reliable is when we can measure and test it, right? The scientific method, right, helps us know if something is reliable. So is the evidence scientifically proven? Is the evidence, are there statistics? Is there math? Can I reproduce this idea? Okay, that's what's going to help us decide. So here, I don't know, my reason isn't super scientific here. It's very general. So it's maybe not super reliable. We could have a better, more scientific explanation, but it's kind of a good start, okay?
it's really that the snow make water during the summer.
Right, so right, because the snow will stay on the mountain,
Okay.
right, where it's colder until it gets warmer, and then it will melt and come down in the summer.
It will come like a rain or
Into a lake or a river, yeah.
lake.
Okay? And so our final test, if we feel like the evidence is reliable, Nawaf, our final way to know if it's reliable and if it's good information is our third question.
Confuse me, the last one.
Yeah,
The last
why?
question is there, find
What is counter evidence?
like, another way, like if it is correct or wrong, and another way, that means not fact.
Okay, good. So a counter evidence, especially with most of our writing topics and the topics that our sources are about, okay, are going to be very difficult, very complex topics, and usually there's always two sides, right? There's advantages and disadvantages, positive effects and negative effects, okay? So if the author in your source chooses to show both sides, both evidence for the good and the bad, that makes it more reliable and credible. If I only choose one side, then I'm only giving you one side so you agree with my opinion, rather than showing you the whole true picture of the topic. So definitely in your sources, this is going to be the most important question to ask. Is the author showing me both sides? Now they might show one side more than another side, but when we choose to include both sides, it's more fact than if I only show one
He
side.
shows one side. If the author use one side.
Right. Then it's only an opinion because I'm only showing you what I want you to know. Does that make sense?
Now, if the author choose two sides, that's me facts. If he used like one side, that's me opinion.
Right. So when we only see one side in our source, we know it's not as credible because the author isn't being 100% honest about the topic.
Bias.
Bias, exactly, yeah. That's 2 slides away. So yeah, we've got this idea here. So once again, sometimes opinions and facts go together, right? And sometimes it's hard to see it. But yeah, okay? So facts can be influenced by opinion and bias.
You mean bias that the author just talked about him?
Right,
Or
so
just talk
here,
about himself?
no. Okay, the author's talking about a topic,
Okay.
okay? And if they only show the good side or only show the bad side of the topic, that's bias, right? If only the orange fish get to be over here and not the green fish,
Yes.
that's bias.
It's a racism.
What side?
Racist against orange fish and green fish?
No.
There's
Yeah,
some that
you
is.
can't even put the orange with the green.
Yeah, that's bias, right? So once again here, right? Facts are not always completely objective because the author selects the facts which they want to present as evidence. So once again, if in our source, the author is showing us at least a little bit of both sides, it's more factual, it's more credible. Those are the kinds of sources we want, because we want to know not just about the good. We want to know if there's some bad effects too, okay? The author is making a judgment about what facts are important to include, right? He's saying, if I only want the orange fish and not the green fish, right, then that's not a good, credible, reliable source. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so turn your paper over that I gave you. Okay? So, this is your homework.
For today? I mean, what?
Of course. It is today, right? That's a fact. Okay? So we have 7 quotes. This is from your 3rd article. Okay?
That's
So-
so, today, right?
Yes, that you took your quiz on today. So let's look at the first one here, okay? So it says, advancements in emerging technologies are more prevalent these days, which could affect the amount of jobs that exist. What do you guys think? Fact?
Fact.
Why is it a fact, Jacob?
Because I think it's more general.
Okay, good. What about the words makes it general?
More people.
Okay, what does that mean?
That's mean more people.
Prevalent means common, right?
Yeah.
So here we have, right, advancements or innovations and new or emerging technologies are common these days. Is that a fact? Do we all agree that that's something that's happening in our world today?
Yes.
Yes? No? Fun? What do you think? I thought you shook your head. So yeah, I would say that's a really pretty good fact. I think everyone can agree with that. We could have evidence. We could actually have a chart, right, that would show us how much technology has been increasing, okay? Anything else about this sentence that makes it a fact?
No.
What?
Is there any other, so like in the second half of the sentence here, which could affect the amount of jobs that exist? Is that a fact?
Yeah.
What is it about this information that makes it a fact?
Because
Go ahead, Ahmed.
it affects the human jobs and maybe replace them.
Good, so I mean, definitely here they're not saying 100% it is effective.
Well, then
It could have 10% effect, it could have 80% effect. It could have a negative effect, it could have a positive effect. So they're not really adding any of our subjective, they're just saying it could, it's possible. I don't know how, but it's possible. And that's still pretty good fact instead of opinion, because once again, there's kind of both sides being shown there, okay? So we would say fact, because, right? And then you could say, you know, the first half of the sentence is true, right? And we have words like more prevalent, it is common today. We can all agree, right? Everyone can agree with that this is the reality of our world.
Can I say because more prevalent mean more common, could it not real, it's possible.
Right, and we're not saying how it's possible, right? How much it's possible, how little it's possible, if it's, and then once again too, right? We're not saying what kind of effect, right? If I said it could have positive effects, then that makes it subjective, because I'm choosing a side. Exactly, good. Got it?
Got it.
Okay? So when you come to class next Thursday, right, because we don't have class on Wednesday.
Make all of them. Let's make today.
Who what?
So let's make the second one.
But
Just a
pause.
minute, just a minute.
You want to do one more before
Yeah,
we finish?
yeah, one more.
Not
No, one more.
easy.
We are.
It's easy.
Let's,
Okay.
Yes,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
One more?
Two more.
Two more.
Just two, I
Okay.
promise.
So, second one. Telehealth has advantages in the underdeveloped and rural areas of the world. Fact or opinion?
Fact.
Why?
Because no one it's true.
Right, I mean, once again, right? We're not saying what kind of advantages, we're not being super specific, but we know from the article, and there's more evidence in the article, that this technology, right, specifically affects this part of the world, right? Underdeveloped, right, where there's not as many hospitals, doctors, stuff like that, and rural, right, out of towns, out of cities, right? So we know from the rest of the evidence in the article that this technology specifically affects, in a positive way, this part of the world. So yeah, I would say fact. Good.
The second one, studies show that obtaining data remotely is
Reliable.
reliable. Therefore, even though the technology is new, it is being widely accepted. Opinion.
Opinion?
Yeah.
Because studies show.
Really? So
Yeah,
if,
Because the study.
if scientists have shown this through studies, right? So I went out and I did an experiment, and the data from my study showed this, right? Definitely words like this give us facts, okay?
So it's a fact.
It's a fact.
I think also because reliable.
Why? What is it about the word reliable?
It's real.
Right, and once again, this is an adjective, okay? And if something's reliable, it's proven to work every time, right? My phone is very reliable. I can make a phone call almost everywhere. 15 years ago, my really old cell phone was not as reliable, right?
What does it mean?
So it means that it's proven to work every time as it should, right? If I have a car that breaks all the time, it's unreliable, right? You want to have a car that's reliable, that when I turn the key, I know it's going to start and I know it's going to take me where I want to go. But sometimes if you have a really old car or like a bad kind of car, you turn the key and it goes and you're like, ah! And I have to be at work in 5 minutes, right? But my car is unreliable.
I just have the last question.
Okay.
If needs are being met, availability of jobs may decrease. So if it's
Yeah,
it's
so
convenient, right?
yeah, because this will only happen if this happens, right? So we're really guessing about the relationship. So yeah, you're on the right track there. Right? Because if this doesn't happen, doesn't happen, so both become untrue. Okay? All right, so your vocabulary and this homework is due next Thursday, okay?
Thursday. Okay.
Your activity from yesterday and this activity are due when you come to class on Thursday, okay?
Okay. That's
All right.
no problem.
Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Bye.
I
Okay.